The key idea in the games that we're playing is based on the idea that the task, the constraints of the task, helps students become more aware of how the environment affords them the opportunity to play the game. So our model here tries to get at that, and critically at the bottom here is the idea that as a teacher you create situations where students get to explore, therefore to coordinate their actions based on the constraints of the environment. Then they start to control as they become more aware of what the environment allows them to do and what they can do. And as they do that, they start to become skillful as they can choose what to do with the object in order to get an advantage. But to do that, we need to make the environment evolve. So in this particular example, we're going to focus on the serve and the return of serve in the game we've played in class before. So in this game, we had the Monarch. If you remember last time we played this here. And the idea of the Monarch game is that you have to try and survive on this side of the court, these are our monarchs, against the attacking players who are basically serving the ball in and trying to win the point. The critical thing is when the servers serve, they have to serve 1 foot in the court, one outside, the ball over the service box into this area for the monarch to return. So when they're playing the point, both sides of the court will be playing. So this side would be sending the ball over and rallying it back. At the same time, this side of the court would be serving and rallying the ball back at. So it tends to look like this. We have a serve over the net, and then a return into the court, and then at this point these players would be moving into the court, basically trying to anticipate as these players are moving, all contained in their half-court areas. As soon as the point finishes, the server would retreat to the back, and the next person would step up from behind the spot who has a ball and would do the same thing again, and they would serve the ball in to the court and play against the returner. The critical thing is, on each of these games, is that once the server has played the point out, they keep their total. If they get 2 points, at that point they would say, going for 3. This time, the returner has to win this point. If the returner wins the point, then the server total goes back to 0, and the next person would come in and carry on their total. Say this person was also going for 3, they would play out the point against their red opponent, covering the court, and if they were to win it, because this person missed, then what would happen is they would change ends. So this person would come and become a server, and this person would come down this end to become a returner. If, in this rally, as these players are a player, and they are rallying, if the server, who's going for 3, wins the point, then simply what happens is this person would come to this end, and this person would swap to this end to become the monarch. The next person would come up, they would start at 0 and then play again, first person to get to 3. If on the other hand the server didn't win the point, then our returner would stay here and this person would go back to 0. The new person would come in and carry on playing their point out. Circumstances could be that this person is also going for 3. If they happen to miss, they would go to the back to 0, and the blue would come in. If when this person is going for 3 after winning 2 points, wins the 3rd point, then they would therefore swap with the server, the returner, and the returner would become the server, and the points would start again. The key idea in this game is as you're playing is always try to think to cover the base. Move in when you think you can get a short ball, but try not to get stuck in this short court area unless you can actually feel yourself on top of the point. The best idea is always return to the back of the baseline. So in summary, here are the major rules. The server serves the ball into the service box over the net. The point is then played out in the half court. The winner keeps their total. If it's the returner, they just stay where they are. If it's the server, they keep the total, trying to add up to 3. Once point is over, they rotate the server, the new person coming in, and be sure that the person waiting always gets a ball so they're ready to play straight away. Each server must have their own ball. And as noted before, after the server wins 2 points, they then go for 3. If they lose, they go back to 0. If they win, they become the monarch. The winner of the game is the person, when the teacher says time, who is on this side of the court, is the champion as the monarch. The key practice for this game is actually to get the idea of serving effectively into the court. So the game can be played in 2 ways. Here what we've got the idea is the server tries to serve the ball to land inside the hoop. The returner on the other side of the court simply catches the ball. The server will have 5 balls to serve with. They try to see how many times they can successfully send the ball into the hoop. Once they've done this 5 times, the returner, who's catching the balls as they come, will end up with 5 balls and then will rotate this time. You keep a total of the number of times you're able to hit the target. Critically, when you're doing this type of game, is to try to get the idea, just like we've done with rolling, of stepping action, swinging and releasing the ball just in front of the body. So as you strike the ball, you're actually feeling the flat face of the bat and you're following through in the direction of the hit. Once players have got good at serving in this direction, a variation is now to try the same idea but serving across the court. This is actually the way in which the serve is performed in the actual game of pickleball. So you're trying to hit 5 balls towards the targets with your partner fielding. You keep a total of how many out of 5 you get, working on your accuracy of sending the ball to a target area. The returner can maneuver the targets to vary it for the server so that they have a different target to aim the serve towards. Critically in the game is to imagine, based on where you serve the ball in the court, where you should go next if you were covering the court. So keep thinking about your own positioning. Once the serve has been practiced, then we should return to the Monarch game. Initially, we should start off playing the game as before, with the servers serving the ball into the court and using basically the straight part half of the court to play in. Once the players have become competent at playing in this shortened court, so on this side, and can control the ball effectively, then the good idea is to start to have a go at serving the ball across the court. So now it would start to look like this. The servers would serve and the balls would go across the court and they would be returned back across the court. So you would end up with rallies going this direction. This should only be done when the players have shown suitable competence at controlling the ball going across the court area. However, the advantage of doing this way is now when we're playing, we're starting to play in the real game and we're serving in the real direction that you do in pickleball and learning to play the angles based on the positioning of the ball. That will be your culminating idea for this activity, to play Monarch cross court. Well done.